Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only, and for those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law, and through this channel I'll be providing some stock analysis and also a short trading lesson at the end, so please stay tuned. Quick recap of the previous video. We looked at ticker symbol MMAT, metamaterials. Previously we were looking at torch, so the key focus of the previous video was to look at the impacts of people holding call options, so please refer back to the video for details on that. And also we looked at the potential impact of trading 212 and the decision to sell our shares in torch, and looking at our key grievances, so please refer back to the previous video for that for further details. Today's stock analysis is for ticker symbol ATOS Attosa Therapeutics. This is a stock that I first featured in the channel around about February 2021, and many investors did jump on board there at that time and made very significant profits. If you check the screen there, initially the 1st of February when I invested in invested in Attosa, my buy price at that time was $2.17, and on the screen now you'll be able to see the general momentum over the previous 3 months for Attosa and how it's done. We are seeing it's been having some tremendous bull runs. The price has been rocketing quite significantly, so many congratulations to everybody who did jump on board, especially after my first video when I featured this. At that time Attosa was a very unknown stock, relatively small. It has made tremendous gains, so I'm going to be revisiting this stock now, looking at some of the key catalysts and going forward some of the predictions. For the benefit of any potential new investors, let's start by having a quick look at the company profile. If we have a look at the screen here, we can see that the market cap is around about $1 billion, so it's not a huge business. It was regarded as a small penny stock not too long ago. So in terms of the company description, it's a clinical stage pharmaceutical company. It's focusing on therapies for the development of breast cancer and other breast conditions. It also has some other angles to it which we're going to look at shortly. The company is based in Seattle, USA. So let's have a look at some important facts that are relevant to us as potential investors. Having looked at the chart, we can see that the growth has been exceptional in the last 3 to 4 months. What are the reasons for this? So the first catalyst I'd like to share with you is completion of a study here. So if you have a look at the screen, this was a pilot and expansion study of endoxifen in terms of patients with invasive breast cancer prior to undergoing a mastectomy or lumpectomy. So the study highlights at the bottom, so let's have a look at a key summary of these. So in terms of what the outcomes were, first of all, the Ki-67 was reduced by more than 50% in every patient in the window of opportunity between initial biopsy and surgery, with an overall reduction of 74%, so a very positive figure there. In terms of 6 patients had a Ki-67 below 25% after treatment, in a paper entitled Prognostic Value of Different Cutoff Levels of Ki-67 in Breast Cancer. And the next thing that we can look at here in terms of the key bullet point, treatment age range was 16 to 40 days with an average of 22 days. And this is the most important thing I think that draws my attention, and that's the last bullet point. There were no safety or tolerability issues, no hot flashes, no night sweats, which are often can happen and can be challenging for patients. So excellent news, and I think this is going to be a potential future catalyst once it gets to the next stage. Okay, as I said, there are a number of angles to this business, so let's have a look at the next catalyst that has taken place. And if we have a look at the screen here, we have a phase 1 double-blinded randomized and placebo-controlled safety study of a 301 nasal spray in healthy adults. So this is with regard to COVID-19. So the study was designed to determine the safety and tolerability of the nasal spray being developed at home for patients recently diagnosed with COVID-19. So this is something that I featured in my initial video in February. Please refer back to that for more detailed analysis of this study. The study, which as now we can see has been completed, looked at 32 healthy adults and giving them obviously a dose with 2 different doses. So obviously that complies with the requirements of the study. The study was conducted in Australia, so let's now have a look at the preliminary results. So first one, very important, it appears to be safe and well tolerated at a single or multiplier dose for 14 days. Good news there, and this I think is the most important key headline that I'd like to share with you at the bottom. There were no serious adverse events, no discontinuations, and only one of the subjects of the 32 subjects experienced adverse events that were considered moderate in severity. All other adverse events were mild. So excellent news there. This can also now go to the next stage and also obviously be a potential catalyst for the stock and the business going forward in the future. The third successful catalyst I'd like to share with you, which has been completed here from the company has just announced, is you'll be able to see on the screen here, is a phase 1 placebo-controlled dose escalation safety and safety study of endoxifen in healthy female volunteers. So this was a double-blinded study consisting of 2 parts. So first of all, a 3-arm placebo-controlled study with a formula which was given to 24 volunteers. A 3-arm, second part, a 3-arm placebo-controlled study in terms of their oral endoxifen given to 24 volunteers. So obviously they're using the placebo, comparing it with the real one. So let's have a look at the findings. In terms of safety, no reported significant adverse events. In terms of tolerability, the dose levels and for the dosing duration utilised in the study was well tolerated. In terms of the pharmacokinetics, high levels of endoxifen was achieved in the blood of the subjects who received high doses of the topical drug. Let's have a look at the oral endoxifen now. So no clinical significant safety signals and no clinical significant adverse events in participants receiving the oral endoxifen. Excellent news there. Oral endoxifen was tolerated at each dose level for the dosing duration utilized in the study. And finally, it demonstrated blood levels that have been associated with therapeutic effects in the setting in women with breast cancer. So a very successful phase 1 trial here. This will now move on to phase 2, I'm very confident of, and the company is getting closer and closer to FDA phase 3. It will still take time, but it's certainly moving in the right direction. Let's now have a look at the impact of some of these trials in terms of catalysts for the business going forward and the impact on the company, especially the share price. So this is a news article, very recent, June the 25th, 2021 from Owen Snap. The headline here is Atosa Therapeutics is facing huge incomes since the start of COVID-19. So the business is benefiting in terms of the trial for the nasal spray. So stock cost $4.64 on June the 16th and a big leap to $9.23. So we're looking at almost 100% increase there. So it's a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company focusing on discovering innovative medicines, especially for breast cancer that we've already seen. And the new angle now that we can see that they're driving the company forward is the COVID-19 and other major medical needs. Let's now have a look at the second part of the article, which is giving those the famous cliche, buy the rumour, sell the news. So don't be afraid to lose your money. So in terms of April, we know that the shares of endoxifen more than tripled. The company noted that the study met its primary objective, which was obviously to evaluate the safety and efficacy of the drug. It also exhibited a reduction in Ki-67 levels. And this suggested that the drug's potential to improve survival. So excellent news for the company. Going forward, the stock has really been bouncing up very, very well. The next article I'd like to share with you is from Seeking Alpha. This is also dated June the 25th, 2021. This is very, very important, and this is also a key driving force in the stock building momentum and going up very significantly. So the headline here is Atosa rallies ahead of inclusion in the Russsell index. So let's see what we can pick up now in the rest of this article. First thing here that the article recognises is the momentum in the stock. It did go through at one stage an 8-day winning streak, so very positive news there. And as the key headline stated, it's going to be part of the Russell 2000 and Russell 3000 indexes. and this is going to give the company an opportunity to expand awareness amongst investors. So good news there. So Russell Group and the Russell Index are very important. They have assets in excess of 10.6 trillion, and they're managed with lots of benchmarks and indexes. So good news there. And then finally, in terms of the graph, we can see that ATOS Attosa is focused on breast cancer and COVID-19, and this has risen in excess of 733.7% in the year so far. So if you remember, I first brought this stock to you around February. So anybody who has benefited from these gains, you have done exceptionally well. So well done, and a shout out to everybody who invested there. So it's an excellent stock going forward, especially for the long term as well. What I would now like to do is share with you a Chartmill health analysis. The company has been given a health rating of 8, which is excellent. So that's 8 out of 10. So the current ratio of 102.26 indicates that the Atos has no problem at all in paying off its short-term debts. So financially, the company is very, very strong. It's much better than the industry average of 8.43. Atos's rating is 99%, has a better rating than 99% of its industry peers. So the company's health certainly they're very strong. Final point at the bottom is one of the best placed companies in the industry to meet the short-term obligations of its debt. So good news there from that point of view. Let's now have a look at the red point at the bottom. So compared to the average industry debt to equity ratio, Atos is more dependent on financing than its industry peers. So that's the weakness side of it. Let's now have a look at more of a technical analysis. So we have a look at the technical rating here. Atos scores a score of 9 out of 10, which is excellent. And this is also proven to be solid in terms of the key findings here that we can see on the screen, which are all green. So if we start with a summary of these, the long-term and short-term trends are very positive. When comparing with the yearly performance of all stocks, Atos is one of the better performing stocks and outperforming 97% of all stocks. It's part of the biotechnology industry, and there are 569 other stocks in this industry, and Atos is outperforming 97% of them. That is exceptional. A new 52-week high is currently being made according to this technical rating at the time of this technical rating, so the company is achieving all-time highs. Support and resistance has gone up. We can see support is around about 4.32 right now. Let's now finish off by having a look at some of the risks involved, and that is on the right hand side, which is the setup analysis. So the company fundamentals in terms of health are strong, the potential is strong. However, the technical rating in terms of setup is only a 2 out of 10. So that's not a bad thing with regard to the business. What that basically means, it's not a good time right now for an entry into this stock to invest, because it has been shooting up quite significantly. So in terms of an entry, what I would recommend is certainly wait for a pullback around about 20-25%. So it is a penny stock that I do believe that we will see a pullback, and certainly you can put this on your watch list. The pullback will be healthy. I think the company will recover long term going forward, but it's definitely much better to look for a 20-25% pullback. So it's just a case of being patient. Final thing I'd like to do is finish off by looking at some potential upcoming catalysts for the stock now. So these are the next catalysts on the screen. The AT301 status update, phase 2 is starting, and they could attract government funding for that. The next future catalyst, ovarian cancer patient status update and a possible consequence. Price target update because of the increase of market opportunity for Attosa. And third update, very important this one, endoxifen phase 3 trial start and partnership announcement, which has already been declared in the favour UTE course of action. So once that kicks off, again, this is going to be excellent news for the stock. Due to an extended stock analysis today, the next trading lesson will be in the next video. Thank you very much for joining me. Please stay tuned.